Essex. You know what, Judge? I'm not afraid of you or your courtroom. I'll say whatever I want. Nobody controls me.
Sit down and shut your mouth, because in my courtroom, you don't get to act like a wild animal.
Who do you think you are, old hag? You can't boss me around. I do what I want whenever I want.
The courtroom studio had seen decades of drama, but nothing, absolutely nothing, came close to what was about to unfold that morning. Cameras hummed quietly, the audience whispered among themselves, and the producers prepared for another episode they assumed would be routine. They had no idea they were minutes away from capturing the most explosive courtroom moment in TV history. A moment that would gather over 80 million views across every platform imaginable and become a symbol of what happens when entitlement meets consequences. Then he walked in. 12-year-old Tyler Jameson entered Judge Judith Marlowe's courtroom with a level of arrogance rarely seen even in adults. Oversized headphones wrapped around his head like a crown of privilege. His brand new iPhone shimmered in his hand as he scrolled without looking up. The boy didn't just carry an attitude, he carried an entire atmosphere of disrespect around him like a force field. His designer sneakers squeaked against the polished floor, each step echoing the entitlement of a kid who believed rules were optional and consequences were for other people. He didn't glance at the judge. He didn't acknowledge the bailiff. He didn't even look at the elderly woman whose world he had shattered for the sake of TikTok views. He simply slouched into the defendant's seat, tapping on his phone as if he was waiting for a ride, not a ruling. None of the audience members knew yet that this boy had single-handedly destroyed something that took 40 years to grow. None of them knew he had filmed himself doing it. None of them knew that the judge sitting before him had already reviewed every horrifying detail with growing rage, but they were about to find out. The hook of the story wasn't just the disrespect. It wasn't even the cruelty. It was what Judge Marlowe known for her razor-sharp tongue and zero tolerance. Policy for nonsense would do after being called a Karen, and told she had boomer energy by a 12-year-old brat with thousands of online followers and zero real-world accountability. Before we get to that confrontation, before the insult that froze the room, you need to know who these people were and how this situation spiraled into the most viral courtroom reckoning ever captured on television. Tyler Jameson wasn't simply misbehaving. He wasn't a mischievous kid who made a one-off mistake. He was a product, no, a victim of modern parenting gone completely off track. At just 12, Tyler had a TikTok account with 60,000 followers, built entirely on humiliating others, teachers, neighbors, elderly people, random strangers. Anyone who appeared vulnerable became content for him. His mother, Melissa Jameson, didn't discipline him. Instead, she rewarded him. Every new gadget he demanded, every overpriced shoe, every limited edition device, she bought it all. Not because he earned it, not because he deserved it, but because Melissa was terrified of being the strict parent. She wanted to be the cool mom, the friend mom, the mom who avoided confrontation because it reminded her too much of her failed marriage. And so consequences simply didn't exist in Tyler's world. When he insulted teachers, she defended him. When he was suspended 5 times in 2 years, she blamed the school. When he harassed neighbors, she paid them off over $7,000 across various incidents to make problems disappear. She didn't realize it then, but every dollar she handed out was another brick in the path, leading Tyler straight into Judge Marlowe's courtroom. Then there was Mrs. Elena Ruiz, 73 years old, retired school teacher, widow, gardener, survivor of a grief that never fully healed. Her garden wasn't just a garden. It was the living memory of her late husband, Daniel Ruiz, who had planted the first rosebush with bare hands when they moved into their modest home in 1984. Over 4 decades, the garden became a masterpiece. Rare breeds, hand-cultivated roses, colors so rich they looked unreal. Professional botanists had offered thousands for single cuttings, and she refused every offer because to her, these flowers weren't products. They were moments, memories, pieces of a life she still cherished. Every morning from 6:30 to 9:30, she would step into the garden, coffee in hand, and speak softly to Daniel, telling him about her day, asking him questions she knew he couldn't answer anymore. But she talked anyway. Because love like that doesn't die, it simply changes form. Neighbors knew. Those hours were sacred. Then Tyler moved in next door, and everything began to unravel. At first, the disruptions were small. Loud music. Basketballs thrown against the fence. But when Mrs. Ruiz asked him politely to stop during her morning hours, he laughed at her. That laughter grew into mockery. Mockery grew into harassment. Harassment grew into contempt. He filmed her accent. He exaggerated her speech. He called her the weird senora next door. He encouraged his followers to comment laughing emojis and mock her. Melissa apologized each time, but never disciplined him. And then came the morning that destroyed 40 years of love. Mrs. Ruiz stepped into her garden and found devastation. Every rose blackened. Every leaf shriveled. Every stem dead, not naturally. Not accidentally, but poisoned. Someone had poured industrial weed killer across all 43 rose bushes. Someone had taken their time. Someone had made sure every plant would die, and she would have never known who did it. Except Tyler posted the entire thing on TikTok, laughing, narrating, mocking her pain before she even discovered it. The video went viral, hundreds of comments praising the prank. Her heart broke in a way she didn't know was possible after already losing her husband. And for the first time in her life, she filed a lawsuit. She wasn't seeking money. She was seeking justice, and unknowingly, she unleashed Judge Marlowe. Asterisk. The courtroom air feels heavier now, like everyone is holding their breath at the same time. The senator's daughter sits stiffly in her chair, her arms crossed tightly, but the fire in her eyes has dimmed. Only a faint glow of stubbornness remains. Judge Judy watches her for a long moment, the silence stretching across the room like a warning. She finally speaks, her voice cold and deliberate. Judge Judy, you're used to people cleaning up your messes. I can see that. You misbehave, you throw tantrums, and someone else pays the price. But unfortunately for you in this courtroom, actions land on your own shoulders. The girl shifts in her seat, not daring to speak yet. Her father looks torn between frustration and embarrassment, but he remains quiet, knowing any interference would only worsen things. Judge Judy continues, measuring each word like a scalpel. Judge Judy, you came here today thinking this was just another place you could disrespect, that you could talk however you wanted, behave however you wanted, and walk out without consequences. The girl bites her lower lip, her jaw trembling with suppressed defiance. Judge Judy, but this is not your playground. This is not your father's office. This is a courtroom. And in here, respect isn't optional. It's required. The girl finally snaps back, unable to hold it in. Girl, why are you making such a big deal about everything I say? I didn't even do anything that bad. The entire courtroom reacts at once. Some gasp, some shake their heads. A few even laugh under their breath, shocked by how clueless she sounds. Judge Judy raises one eyebrow, a gesture so sharp it could cut through steel. Judge Judy, not that bad? Let me educate you, since life apparently hasn't done it yet. Disrespect is not measured by your intention. It's measured by your behavior. And your behavior today has been atrocious. The girl looks away, annoyed. But she doesn't interrupt this time. Judge Judy steps slightly forward, her tone changing, less angry now, more firm. Like a teacher forced to discipline a student who never learned boundaries. Judge Judy, you walked in here with entitlement dripping off you. You insulted this court. You threatened me. You tried to intimidate the process with your father's position. And you honestly think that's not that bad? The girl's face flushes red. Her voice cracks a little when she speaks again. Asterisk girl, you're twisting everything. I didn't mean it like that. Judge Judy doesn't blink. Judge Judy, when you disrespect someone, you don't get to decide whether it counts. The girl's eyes go glossy. She looks down at her hands, her bravado breaking apart piece by piece. The senator shifts slightly, taking a deep breath, clearly mortified. He whispers hoarsely, Senator, I'm sorry. Your Honor, my daughter, but Judge Judy holds up a hand. Judge Judy, no, she needs to speak for herself. The girl stiffens, feeling the pressure of every eye in the room pressing down on her. She exhales shakily and mutters, "Girl, I didn't think it was serious." Judge Judy's voice softens just a fraction. Judge Judy, that's exactly the problem. You don't think. You react. You lash out. You demand. And you expect the world to adjust to you. The girl looks up, her eyes shiny with irritation, frustration, and something that looks dangerously close to guilt. Judge Judy leans back in her chair, folding her hands calmly. Judge Judy, so tell me, young lady, at what point in your life did you start believing that you're better than everyone else? Because that delusion is going to ruin you if it hasn't already. Asterisk, the girl swallows hard, and for a moment she looks like she might cry. But instead, pride forces her to straighten her back. She wipes her face quickly, as if embarrassed by her own emotions. Girl, I don't think I'm better than everyone else. Judge Judy responds instantly. Judge Judy, then you certainly act like you do. Silence falls again. This time, it's not tense, it's revealing. The girl's shoulders slump slightly, the weight of her own behavior finally settling on her. Judge Judy studies her quietly. Judge Judy, confidence is a strength. But arrogance? She taps her gavel lightly on the bench. Arrogance is a weakness disguised as power. The girl stares at her hands, unable to look up. Judge Judy continues, her voice turning unexpectedly calm. Judge Judy, you are capable of better. I can see that. Underneath the entitlement, the tantrums, the disrespect, there's a young woman who could actually grow into someone strong, someone decent, someone who doesn't have to shout to feel heard. The girl looks up, startled by the gentler tone. Judge Judy, but right now, you are letting your ego lead you straight into a wall. And it will not be your father who feels the impact. It will be you. The girl's throat tightens. For the first time, she looks genuinely uncertain, not defiant, not arrogant, just unsure of herself. Girl, quietly, I didn't realize. Judge Judy nods slowly. Judge Judy, good. That means we're finally getting somewhere. The girl takes a shaky breath. Girl, okay. I'm sorry. Judge Judy tilts her head, assessing her. Judge Judy, are you apologizing because you understand, or because you want this moment to end? The girl hesitates. The entire courtroom waits. She finally whispers, Girl, because I understand. Judge Judy studies her for a few seconds, making sure the words are real. For the first time since this hearing began, there's sincerity in the girl's expression, still stubborn, still proud, but honest. Judge Judy nods approvingly. Judge Judy, that's better. The senator looks relieved, sinking back into his seat. The bailiff eases his stance. Judge Judy sits back down fully, reclaiming the room with her steady, unshakable presence. Judge Judy, now that we have finally peeled away the drama, we can proceed with the actual case. And we will do so with respect, understanding, and clarity. The girl nods silently. Judge Judy, let this moment be a reminder to you. Respect isn't a sign of weakness. It's a reflection of wisdom. And wisdom is what will carry you further in life than entitlement ever will. The girl nods again, more firmly this time. The courtroom settles into a calm, disciplined silence. Everyone leans in, ready for what comes next. Judge Judy lifts the first document of the case, and the real hearing finally begins. Asterisk. Judge Judy flips through the case file, her eyes scanning each page with razor-sharp focus. The courtroom has settled into a tense quiet, though the earlier storm of attitude still lingers faintly in the air. The senator's daughter sits straighter now, her fiery expression replaced with a blend of nervousness and lingering pride. She keeps glancing around as if suddenly realizing the entire room witnessed her meltdown, and her apology. Judge Judy clears her throat. Judge Judy, all right. Let's talk about why we're here today. This is a civil dispute involving property damage and unpaid expenses. Nothing complicated, unless someone chooses to make it complicated. Her tone lands like a warning. The girl nods quickly. keeping her lips sealed. Judge Judy, according to the statement of the plaintiff, Miss Claire Reynolds, the senator's daughter, meaning you, borrowed her designer handbag without permission and returned it completely damaged. And when asked to compensate for it, you refused. The girl winces, shifting uncomfortably. The spectators lean forward again, sensing another emotional spark on its way. Judge Judy turns to Clara, a soft-spoken young woman sitting nervously at the opposite table. Clara clutches her hands together, clearly intimidated but determined. Judge Judy, Miss Reynolds, step forward. Tell me what happened. Clara stands, swallowing hard. Clara, Your Honor, we've been friends for years. I thought she respected me. But one night she came to my house before a party. She saw my bag and said she wanted to borrow it. I told her no. She grabbed it anyway. A ripple of murmur spreads through the room. Judge Judy raises her hand for silence. Judge Judy, and when she returned the bag to you? Clara looks toward the senator's daughter, her voice trembling. Clara, it was ripped, stained, scratched. It looked like it had been thrown across a highway. When I asked her what happened, she just laughed and said I should be grateful she even touched it. The girl's face flushes deep red. She opens her mouth to protest, but catches herself just in time. Her lips clamp shut again. Judge Judy turns her piercing stare on her. Judge Judy, stand up. The girl rises slowly, her eyes flickering with embarrassment. Judge Judy, is Clara lying? The girl looks down, shaking her head slightly. Girl, no. Judge Judy doesn't blink. Judge Judy, so you took the bag without permission? Girl, yes. Judge Judy, and you returned it damaged? A reluctant pause. Girl, yes. Clara's eyes glisten, a mixture of validation and sadness. Judge Judy presses on. Judge Judy, and you refused to pay for it? Girl, yes. But, Judge Judy holds up a finger. Judge Judy, no, but, facts first. Excuses later. The girl shuts her mouth again. The judge leans back, studying her like a puzzle she intends to solve. Judge Judy, why did you take the bag without permission? The girl hesitates, struggling to find words that aren't infused with attitude. Girl, I thought she wouldn't mind. We always borrow each other's things sometimes, and I really wanted to use it. It matched my outfit. Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. Judge Judy, so your outfit was more important than your friend's boundaries? The girl cringes. Girl, I didn't think about it that way. Judge Judy, of course you didn't, because thinking about other people has never been your strong suit. The girl clenches her jaw but forces herself to stay quiet. Judge Judy taps her pen on the desk. Judge Judy, all right, tell me what happened to the bag. The girl stares at the floor, clearly embarrassed. Girl, I left it in the car. On the floor. Someone spilled a drink. And then things just got messy. People were dancing, moving around, stepping on stuff. I didn't really see when it got torn, but when I found it later, it was already ruined. Clara looks heartbroken. Clara, you didn't even look for it. I know you didn't. You threw it aside because you knew it wasn't yours. The girl's eyes soften slightly, guilt creeping in. Asterisk girl, I didn't mean to ruin it, Clara. Judge Judy cuts in sharply. Judge Judy, but you did ruin it. And then instead of apologizing, you mocked her. The girl nods slightly. Shame finally winning a battle against pride. Judge Judy opens the appraisal documents. Judge Judy, the bag cost $800. Is that correct? Clara nods. Clara, yes, Your Honor. Judge Judy turns to the girl. Judge Judy, do you have $800? The girl blinks, surprised. Girl, what? Right now? Judge Judy, no, next week on a full moon at midnight. Of course I mean right now. A few people laugh, but stop instantly when Judge Judy turns her head. The girl sighs. Girl, yes, I have it. Judge Judy tilts her head. Waiting. Judge Judy, then why didn't you pay her when she asked? And there it is, the moment the girl's face twists in emotional conflict. She struggles for a long second before answering. Girl, because I was angry and embarrassed, and I didn't want to admit I was wrong. Judge Judy's expression shifts, not softer, not kinder, but more understanding. Judge Judy, being wrong isn't the end of the world. Staying wrong because of pride, that's what destroys relationships. The girl glances at Clara, regret flickering in her eyes. Girl, I know. Judge Judy takes a deep breath. Judge Judy, you two were friends. Good friends, I assume. Clara nods silently. Judge Judy, and sometimes friendships survive arguments, but they do not survive disrespect. She looks at the girl again. Asterisk. Judge Judy, your behavior today is the same behavior you used with her. Arrogant, dismissive, careless. And that's why you're losing people who care about you. The girl's eyes go glossy. She bites her lip, but tears start forming. Girl, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I just acted stupid. Judge Judy nods once. Judge Judy, yes, you did. But understanding that is the first step. Clara looks at her friend, her expression softening slightly. Clara, I just wanted an apology and my bag replaced. I didn't want all of this. Judge Judy raises her hand. Judge Judy, well, sometimes life gives lessons louder than we expect. She picks up her gavel. Judge Judy, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. The girl mounts, accepting it, but Judge Judy isn't finished. Judge Judy, and one more thing. The girl looks up nervously. Judge Judy, money will replace the handbag, but only sincerity will repair the friendship you damaged. That part is up to you. The girl turns to Clara, wiping her eyes. Girl, softly, I'm sorry. Really sorry. Clara hesitates, then steps forward and hugs her. The courtroom is stunned. Even Judge Judy pauses for a heartbeat before tapping her gavel. Judge Judy, good. Maybe there's hope for you after all. And with that, the hearing moves toward its close, leaving behind a lesson heavier than any verdict. Respect, responsibility, and humility are worth far more than entitlement, and sometimes consequences bring people back together. Asterisk. Judge Judy taps her gavel lightly, signaling the case is resolved, but the emotional tension in the room still hasn't settled. Clara and the senator's daughter slowly pull apart from their brief hug, both wiping their eyes discreetly. The senator lets out a long, deep breath, one he'd probably been holding for the entire hearing. The spectators shift in their seats, whispering about what just unfolded, but Judge Judy isn't done. Not even close. She leans forward, folding her hands on the bench, eyes locked on the young woman who had caused so much chaos, not only in the courtroom, but in her own life. Judge Judy, sit back down. We still have some unfinished business. The girl nods and sits immediately, no longer defiant or dismissive, almost humbled now. Clara returns to her seat as well, calmer than she's been since the beginning. Judge Judy flips through the case file slowly, the sound of paper turning echoes across the silent room. Judge Judy, you know, I've handled thousands of cases. Some criminal, some civil, some so outrageous they barely make sense. But do you know what frustrates me more than anything? The girl shakes her head quietly, waiting. Judge Judy, wasted potential. The girl looks up, confused but attentive. Judge Judy, you are young. You have resources that others don't, opportunities that many will never get. A father willing to support you. A friend who clearly cared for you, even when you didn't give her much reason to. Her voice isn't angry now. It's steady, almost disappointed. Judge Judy, and instead of using all that for good, you choose ego. You choose impulsiveness. You choose entitlement. The girl's cheeks burn with shame, but she forces herself to listen. Judge Judy, tell me something. What do you actually want in life? The question hits her like a brick. No one expected it, not the spectators, not Clara, not even the senator. The girl opens her mouth and stops. For once, she doesn't have a fast answer ready. Girl, I don't know. Judge Judy nods. Judge Judy, that's honest. I'll give you that. But that's something you need to figure out, because without direction, you're going to keep spiraling. You're going to keep hurting people, including yourself. The girl swallows hard, her voice shaky. Girl, I didn't realize how much I was messing up. Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. Judge Judy, You didn't realize because you never slowed down long enough to look at your own behavior. You've been running through life like a bull in a china shop, breaking things, breaking relationships, breaking trust. The girl nods slightly, her eyes glassy. Girl, I guess. I never really thought about other people's feelings. Judge Judy, no, you didn't, but you're thinking about it now. And that matters more than you know. She turns to Clara. Judge Judy, Miss Reynolds. You've shown patience today more than most people would. But I want to ask you something now. Clara looks startled but nods. Judge Judy, do you believe your friendship can be repaired? Or is the damage too deep? Clara bites her lip. Everyone watches her, including the girl, who suddenly looks terrified of her answer. Clara takes a breath. Clara, she hurt me. A lot, not just today, but in the past too. She never took things seriously. She never respected my boundaries. That wasn't easy to deal with. The girl nods slowly, accepting every word. Clara continues softly. Clara, but I also know she's not a bad person. She just gets lost in her attitude sometimes. Judge Judy cracks a slight, approving smile. Judge Judy, lost in her attitude. That's an interesting way to put it. Clara nods. Clara, if she really means what she said today, and if she's willing to change, then yeah, maybe we can fix things. The girl's eyes fill with emotion as she whispers, Girl, I mean it. I know I've been horrible sometimes, and you didn't deserve that. I don't want to be that person anymore. Clara reaches over, placing a gentle hand on her arm, a gesture simple but full of meaning. Judge Judy watches them. Satisfied. Judge Judy, good. But keep something in mind, trust is easy to lose and very hard to rebuild. And rebuilding it is going to take time, patience, and effort. The girl nods earnestly. Judge Judy straightens up again. Judge Judy, now, before we close this matter, I want to address something important. Her tone shifts firmer, but not harsh. Judge Judy, young lady, your behavior today wasn't just disrespectful. It was dangerous. You threatened a sitting judge. You tried to use your father's position to intimidate this court. That's not just childish, it's reckless. The girl's breath stutters, the gravity of her earlier actions sinking deeper. Girl, I know. I shouldn't have said any of that. Judge Judy, no, you shouldn't have. And in another courtroom with another judge, you might have faced far more serious consequences. The girl's eyes widen. Judge Judy continues. Judge Judy, but I chose not to pursue contempt charges for one reason: you showed accountability. You didn't hide, you didn't blame anyone else, and you apologized sincerely. That matters. The girl nods, relief washing over her face. Judge Judy, but understand this. If this behavior continues in the real world, someone will drag you into a courtroom again, and next time, you won't walk away with a lecture and a fine. You'll face real penalties. The girl wipes her eyes, nodding firmly. Girl, I understand. Judge Judy leans back. Judge Judy, good. Now tell your father what you learned today. The senator looks surprised, but sits upright. The girl turns toward him, her voice quiet but steady. Girl, I learned that I can't act like the world owes me anything, that I've been careless with people's feelings, and that I need to stop hiding behind your name and start taking responsibility for myself. The senator blinks rapidly, clearly emotional. Senator, I'm proud of you. More than you know. Judge Judy raises her hand before the moment becomes too sentimental. Judge Judy, save the hallmark moment for after court. A few people laugh quietly. Judge Judy continues. Judge Judy, now, before dismissing this case, I want to leave you with something. She points her pen at the girl. Judge Judy, you have a choice from this moment forward: grow, or repeat, learn, or regress, evolve, or stay trapped in your ego. The girl listens intently. Judge Judy, if you choose growth, you'll become someone people respect, and not because of your father's title, but because of your character. If you choose regression, you'll ruin opportunities before they even arrive. The girl inhales deeply. Girl, I choose growth. Judge Judy studies her. making sure the words are real. Then she nods. Judge Judy, make sure your actions match your words. She picks up her gavel. Judge Judy, this matter is concluded. She strikes the gavel once, a sharp, definitive sound that echoes across the room. As people begin to rise. The girl turns to Clara again. Girl, I promise. I'll do better. Clara smiles softly. Clara, I know. The senator places a gentle hand on his daughter's shoulder, guiding her toward the exit. For the first time, she doesn't walk with arrogance. She walks with awareness, maybe even humility, and as the courtroom empties, Judge Judy watches silently, satisfied that, for once, the lesson landed exactly where it needed to. A case closed. A friendship repaired. And a young woman finally beginning to grow into the person she was always meant to be. The hallway outside the courtroom buzzes with murmurs, footsteps, and soft echoes. But for the senator's daughter, the world has quieted. Everything feels slower, heavier, as if the weight of the morning finally decided to settle on her shoulders. She walks beside her father and Clara, each step measured and unsure. What happened in that courtroom wasn't just a case, it was a mirror. And she's still processing the reflection, staring back at her. They reach a quieter corner of the courthouse. Her father stops, turning to face her fully for the first time since the hearing began. His expression is complicated, a blend of relief, disappointment, pride, and something like hope. Senator, you made mistakes. Big ones. But I'm glad you owned up to them. The girl looks down, her voice soft. Girl, I'm sorry I dragged you into all this. Her father sighs. Senator, you didn't drag me anywhere. I'm your father. It's my job to stand by you. But it's also my job to tell you when you're going down a dangerous path. He gently lifts her chin so their eyes meet. Senator, today, you listened. That means something. She nods, her throat tightening with emotion. Clara steps closer, offering a small smile. Clara, hey, we all mess up. You just happen to do it more loudly than most people. The girl laughs through a shaky breath. Girl, yeah, guess I do. Clara's expression softens. Clara, but today, you showed up. That matters. The girl steps forward and hugs Clara again, longer this time, more grateful, more genuine. Clara hugs her back without hesitation. After a moment, the senator clears his throat. Senator, how about we get some fresh air? Clear our heads a little. The two girls nod, and they walk toward the courthouse exit together. Outside, sunlight pours over them, warm, bright, somehow symbolic. The girl stands still for a moment, letting the light wash over her face, as if trying to cleanse the anger and arrogance she had carried for so long. Clara nudges her gently. Clara, your apology meant a lot. The girl turns to look at her. Girl, I meant every word. And I know saying sorry isn't enough. I need to prove it. Clara nods. Clara, then start by being honest with me, with yourself, with everyone. No more pretending. No more acting like you're untouchable. She takes a deep breath. Clara, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real. The girl lets those words settle inside her like seeds waiting to grow. Girl, I can do that. I want to do that. Clara smiles. They begin walking again, but the girl glances back at the courthouse one last time. She can see Judge Judy's courtroom window high above, still silent, authoritative. And in that moment, she feels something new. Respect. Not fear, not resentment, true, grounded respect. Because Judge Judy didn't just scold her. She didn't just embarrass her. She woke her up. As they reach the sidewalk, the girl stops abruptly. Girl, Clara, can I ask you something? Clara pauses. Clara, yeah. Girl, why did you stay friends with me? Even when I didn't deserve it? Clara thinks for a moment. Clara, because I've seen the good in you. The real you. Not the loud version, not the angry version. The version that cares. You just forget she exists sometimes. The girl blinks, overwhelmed. Girl, I want to be that version all the time. Clara nods. Clara, then start now. The three of them continue walking, and the senator places a hand on his daughter's shoulder. Senator, you know, when you were little, You used to tell everyone you wanted to be someone who makes the world better. I've been waiting for you to remember that. She smiles faintly, embarrassed but touched. Girl, I guess I lost myself a little. Her father shakes his head kindly. Senator, you didn't lose yourself. You just got distracted. Happens to everyone. What matters is you're finding your way back. She exhales deeply, relief, regret, and gratitude blending together inside her. They reach the parking lot. Clara turns to her. Clara, listen, before we go, I want to say something too. The girl braces herself, but Clara's voice is gentle. Clara, I forgive you. Those 3 words land like a soft blanket over the chaos. The girl almost tears up again. Girl, thank you. Clara nods. Clara, but forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. We're rebuilding from scratch. So, start fresh with me? The girl nods eagerly. Girl, fresh start. I'd like that. Clara reaches into her purse and takes out something small, a charm shaped like a tiny silver feather. Clara, this fell off your necklace a few months ago. I kept it. I was going to return it, but we drifted before I got the chance. The girl stares at the charm, emotional. Girl, I thought I lost it forever. Clara shakes her head and places it gently into her palm. Clara, you didn't lose it. It was just waiting for the right time. The girl clutches the charm tightly, as if holding a piece of herself she finally found again. Girl, thank you for not giving up on me. Clara smiles. Clara, don't make me regret it. They both laugh quietly. The senator gestures toward the car. Senator, come on. Let's go home. But before she gets in, the girl turns back once more, this time not to the courthouse, but inward. She takes a breath, steady and full. And for the first time in a long time, she feels proud. Not of her attitude, not of her status, not of her father's title, but of the person she's choosing to become. As they drive away, Clara texts her, Clara, lunch tomorrow? No drama allowed. The girl smiles and replies, girl, promise. Then she leans back in her seat, staring at the passing city through the window. The world looks different, brighter, newer, like there's finally room for her to grow. Back in the courtroom, Judge Judy closes the case file and sets it aside. Unaware of the full journey that will follow outside her chambers, but knowing in her bones that, for once, a verdict reached deeper than the law. Some lessons echo long after the gavel falls. Some moments shape a lifetime. And for a girl who once walked in with entitlement, today was the day she walked out with purpose. If you enjoyed this dramatic courtroom showdown and want more powerful stories filled with justice, attitude, and unforgettable lessons, then don't leave just yet. Make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, and share this video with someone who loves courtroom drama as much as you do. And most importantly, subscribe to Judge Judy Files so you never miss the next explosive case. Every episode brings you real emotions, powerful confrontations, and justice delivered with no nonsense. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and stay subscribed.